It's Tarmac, I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and this silver arrow behind me is none other than the new Mercedes-Benz GLA.
That's right, it's the baby SUV from Mercedes and it's now all grown up. Let's take a look now. So this is the second generation GLA, and what they've done, or what Mercedes-Benz has done, is actually managed to put right a few of the things that weren't quite, correct in their first version. And the biggest criticism that the first one got was it would just look like a normal A-Class but on stilts. This one looks remarkably like an SUV because that's what it is. Let's take a closer look. Up front, I mean, there's no mistaking that this is part of the Mercedes-Benz family. I mean, look at it, with the propeller up front and the wings, single wing. It's also got the mesh front on the grille, lower front balance here. Actually offers air into the engine, which I'll get to in a minute. And the side air curtains, these are all blocked off. They're probably saving that for the top of the range areas like the 45s or the AMG side of things, but there is also airflow down the side, so it does allow some air down the side. The headlights here are what they call LED high performance, so plenty of eyesight at night, but overall, I mean, the front's pretty good looking. Down the side, Mercedes have milked what they can out of this A-Class chassis, and why wouldn't they? I mean, it's AMG inspired. And of course the GLA is still sitting on this A-Class platform. But what they've done is really messed with the size of the overall vehicle. In height wise, it's grown 100 millimeters, so it's a lot taller. Also, from a hip height, when you're getting in, the driver sits 140 millimeters taller, which is, you know, quite substantial. Lengthwise, they've reduced it 14 millimeters, which is not massive, but it does make a difference. Gives it that, overall SUV appeal. And also width-wise, I think it's around 30 millimeters wider. So it really is, just like me, wider, larger, but just not taller, damn it. This model is the AMG line, so it features these lovely 19-inch wheels with this 5-spoke look about them, which is obviously very cool. But look at this, look at the amount of rubber on here. And even the brake calipers come with Mercedes-Benz on them, just in case you happen to be down here looking. The rest of the profile is cool too, particularly this bit. See the sloping roofline here? It's much different to the GLB, which is a lot more, lot more boxy. But, you know, very cool and, a very good looking SUV. Round the rear end, roofline spoiler, LED tail lights, a rear diffuser, which is, not bad for an SUV, and also lovely fake exhaust tips. But what's cooler here is Mercedes have listened to their Gen 1 customers, and now the kicker tailgate gives you access to 495 litres of boot space, which will actually open up with the seats down to 1430 litres. Plenty of room. But let's go and look under the bonnet and see what's under there too. The GLA comes with a multitude of powertrains. This one is the 250, so it comes with a 2-litre turbo engine that offers 165 kilowatts and 350 newton meters of torque. Much to Matthew's annoyance, this will go 0 to 100 in the same speed as his GTI, which is 6.7 seconds, and it also sips fuel at 7.3 litres per 100 kilometers, so pretty good. Speaking of Matthew and how annoyed he is, let's go inside and just see what makes him either angry or happy.
Now, I know what Dave was saying about me being annoyed, but honestly, with this cabin actually, there's not much that I can get annoyed about, because as you know, I have a thing, or rather I have an issue with hard plastics, and there's a little bit over here under sort of your arm level, but not that much to actually kind of get in your way every day. All the stuff that you can touch immediately is generally soft. The seats firstly have a bit of leather and a bit of sort of an Alcantara feeling material with them. It's those comfort seats, so they are there to soften your ride on those times when you're going over gravel and all those hard surfaces, because remember, this is an SUV, it can go there. The tops of the doors, those have a leather sort of material on them with contrast stitching. It's red in this car, which actually gives a nice break up to that black interior. You do get that Mercedes sort of dashboard look, especially with the A-Class across there, the 3 silver vents and the one in the corner, which is actually elevated, whereas in the A-Class they're all in a sort of line. So there's again that differentiation to the normal A-Class. You also get these, I guess, funny looking carbon fiber inserts in the doors. To the untrained eye, somebody will be really impressed by this. Maybe it's something to impress your girlfriend or your partner, but to the trained eye, people like myself, you're not fooling anybody, Mercedes. That's right. There's a little bit of hard plastics here, but when you press that button, it reveals quite a decent amount of under armrest space. Certainly enough for your mask and your gloves and anything else you'll need to go to the supermarkets these days. Plenty of storage space across the middle here as well. You've got the 2 cup holders, space for your phone with wireless charging as well. And if you don't have that on your phone just yet, there's some USB charging ports there as well. In the middle here, you get that funny looking Mercedes armrest, though it is screwed extremely well. Over here it doesn't budge at all, and neither does the center console. The general build quality here is something that you'd expect from Mercedes. There's no compromises on that. And of course, something else that you'd expect from Mercedes is their infotainment system, controls of which are over here, and because this is a touchscreen, on the screen as well. So the touchscreen over here, simple and easy to use. All the menus are laid out really well, and you can go through and look at the various informations of the car, obviously when the engine is on. The owner's manual is on here as well, but it is also, if you want a physical copy, stuck in the side over there. This touchscreen also gives you access to that 9-speaker Burmester audio system, which also comes with 1 subwoofer and 1 amplifier, so it's got quite a bit of punch to it. And in this smallish cabin, you really can hear those acoustics come to life. The second of the 2 10.25 inch screens is the one in front of you, which is of course the dashboard, or the digital dashboard if you like. Currently we've got it set to the AMG dials, a more traditional look where you have the speedometer on the left, the rev counter on the right, and a digital speedometer in between. And the multi-function steering wheel on the left, there's your audio controls and accepting calls, stuff like that. Press the home button and that will take you to home on the touchscreen there. On the right side, it's all the controls for the digital dashboard in front of you. So if you flick this sort of trackpad, you can go through and see your fuel efficiency, the amount of time you've spent on the road, various other displays, your total trip, all those kind of things that you can look through while you're waiting for somebody at the petrol station, for example. And another option with this AMG line is these aluminium finish paddles just behind the steering wheel here, which move with the steering wheel, so when you're taking corners you can downshift and upshift accordingly. Gives that premium Mercedes-Benz finish as well. And it's certainly, there are plenty of other aspects around the cabin to differentiate this car from the A-Class. And certainly it's a step up from the previous GLA. In terms of steps up from the previous GLA, I hear there's more space in the back, so let's hop in there and take a look. It's really weird and in fact, frankly very confusing how Mercedes have managed to actually shorten the car but increase the rear legroom by 116 millimeters. I'm no mathematician, but that's quite a lot actually, and you can certainly tell sitting over here. Look at the amount of knee room I have. Plenty of foot room. I can slide my feet right forward, and remember this seat is pushed as far back as it can go. I also have plenty of headroom here, more than a hand's worth, and the car does come with an option of a sunroof, and it does often compromise headroom, but certainly in this car there's plenty of space that even if it did, even tall people would be fine back here. This does come with a night package, so you do get the privacy glass here, though this line is quite high, and I can imagine for small children sitting in the back here, they won't be able to get much of a view outside, and certainly not that much sun coming through. In terms of rear seats here, definitely comfortable for 2 adults and a child in between, or slightly smaller adult even if you like. This rear bench is pretty substantial. And overall this car has certainly a bigger feel to it than the previous car, despite being shorter in length. In terms of driving feel though, let's see if a lot has changed. And there's only one way to do it, by getting in the front and taking it for a drive.
So remarkably, the GLA actually drives and looks like an SUV, which is, like I said, remarkable, because so many small or compact SUVs just aren't really SUVs at all, and this feels like an SUV, it looks like an SUV, and you know, in many ways drives like an SUV.
I mean, Mercedes-Benz are, as we know, quite good at this sort of thing of making SUVs. Firstly, they've been doing it for a long time, and now they've got several SUVs throughout the range, you know, the GLC, the GLS, the GLE, and then now the GLA and the GLB. So there's 2 smaller models being added, and this as the tiniest Mercedes-Benz SUV.
Yep, it's the first rung on their SUV ladder, and as Matthew points out, it's a big ladder. Actually climbing right up to the GLS, which is just massive. I just love that vehicle. Anyway, built on the A-Class platform, you know it's got solid roots, solid foundation, and we've driven quite a lot of the vehicles on that platform now, up to the 45, which is just a rocket, and you just know how solid that structure is. And I wondered if that was going to be too hard a ride for this vehicle. You know, I guess SUVs do need to have a little bit more play in them, you know, because of the terrain they're going through, and they've pulled it off. I think it is a solid ride, but it's not backbreakingly solid.
You can imagine that AMG chassis that isn't the A45 and isn't the A35. It's actually so hard riding, but all of a sudden you have it in this GLA SUV and it becomes comfortable. And even with this particular model, has run flat tires on it, so you'll expect the ride to be quite jarring, but it's not. Even on gravel roads, it's honestly tolerable and comfortable, frankly.
The ride height feels good. You are in that, I mean, who'd have thought that 140 millimeters made a difference, but it really does. You feel up, you feel high, you feel it's easy to get in and out of with my older hips, but also just you can see things, you can see the wilderness, the beautiful countryside that we're driving in right now, and that's a good thing.
And even the visibility in the front is absolutely perfect, but as I pointed out earlier as well, people in the back might have a little bit of an issue, especially if you're a child, seeing above that high door line.
Or somebody that could do with an extra 140 millimeters of height going through. The feel is good. The drive, you know, the steering wheel, the D-shaped steering wheel is good on this. The texture, I mean, everything feels good for your senses. It's very tactile. It just feels nice. The screen is good, or the screens, whichever way you look at it. So much information and so personalizable, which is cool. The fake carbon fiber, as eagle-eyed Matthew pointed out, it still looks good, and I'd be able to pass it off as carbon. And the sort of leather feel and the Alcantara seats, I don't know, they're comfortable and grippy without being sweaty on the back.
I mean, I might point out and mock those things, frankly, but I mock a lot of things, and it's not that it's bad, it's just that it adds a bit of difference to this cabin, but that's something to be celebrated because it makes it different to the rest of, firstly, the Mercedes-Benz SUV lineup, and of course the A-Class. I think sometimes even Mercedes-Benz engineers forget how many SUVs they have in their lineup, because when you start this car up, you actually get the front end of a GLC lighting up on there. So I'm sorry, Mercedes-Benz software engineer, if you're not here tomorrow, but that was something that we noticed.
He had one job. Space-wise, as Matthew pointed out, the interior is just a bit of a mind blower. It is shorter, but there's more room inside. I mean, Doctor Who and his TARDIS would be just reveling in this, going, well, that's how you do it, it's simple. But there is more leg room, there's more space in the cabin, and you know, that's, again, it's a great thing for a small family to have, that have bickering children in the back who just, you know, just don't get on and want that extra bit of room, or those of me with those like me with older frames who just want that little bit extra room to get through.
It's amazing how much of a difference that extra height makes, actually, because it just raises the height of all the glass around, and it just gives the whole cabin so much more of a bigger feel than before. And even, you know, the width, there's more width to it, so me and Dave are separated by a little bit more, so there's been less of a bickering on this drive compared to the other ones. Certainly helps with that social distancing aspect of things, and as we pointed out, plenty of storage spaces around for you to keep your gloves and your mask and anything else you will need to go shopping these days.
There is a bit of road noise through the tyres. I mean, Matthew pointed out they are run flats. There's also a huge amount of rubber, and also there is a little bit of wind noise. I guess when you're slightly elevated, that's going to happen, but it's not awful, it's not terrible. We're not shouting. We're probably shouting at the end of it, but not everything's kind of in its place. And the engine, it feels strong. I mean, there's a good pickup from it. I mean, this is GTI territory, as I just like to rub in with Matthew. It's quick, and you know, it doesn't need to be for an SUV, but it is, and it feels powerful and it feels ready to go. I'm happy with it. And handling wise, we've been around some tight corners today, and you know, it's all right. It grips well and handles nicely.
And as we know so far, Mercedes-Benz is one manufacturer that certainly know how to do a really punchy 2-liter turbo engine, and this one frankly is no different.
Being 4MATIC means that, you know, really you can go a little bit off-road, or more soft-road than off-road, but it's very comfortable, very confident actually on gravel roads. And also the gearbox, the 8-speed dual clutch, is good. It's certainly when on the move you don't notice it changing gear. Is a little bit sluggish when you're moving from first into reverse, and then when you are in reverse you get a 180-degree camera setup with you know, plenty to view. And I guess when you go up in the option grade you would be able to get to 360 or something like that, but it's certainly not short when it comes to accessories.
As with most Mercedes-Benz, frankly, you do get an extensive list of options that you can add on to the car, obviously for a price. The main one here is they're focused on safety, so with the safety package, or the driving assistance package as they like to call it, you get active distance assist, you get a driving assistance package as they call it, you get an automatic restart, or rather an extended automatic restart, you get lane change assist, and you get route-based speed adaptation, of course, and of course along with that, rear cross traffic alert.
So there you have it, the new Mercedes-Benz GLA. It is the first run on their SUV ladder, but what a great jump it is.
This new second generation GLA has certainly become more SUV than ever, and it certainly leads into that GLB and all the other Mercedes-Benz SUVs. It fits really well in there, and it feels at home as an SUV now. It's no more a lifted hatchback.
It is. It looks good, drives good, and also, I don't know, that vertical look is great too.
You get a little bit of a commanding feel when you're on the road.
Not bad. Thanks for watching.
Make sure you subscribe, and when you're done watching our channel, make sure you keep your eyes on the road.
Cool.